Welcome back. It's time for Netflix picks, and I believe you've got one, Nick.
Hey,
Raphael.
Nick.
you don't even know my name anymore. That's okay, I'll forgive you this time. It's called The Ice Pirates. And, well, it's came out in 1984. And
Obviously.
it is just as cheesy as the picture you see here. You see the ice tray?
Oh my god, it's a comedy though, right?
It is a space comedy.
Okay.
Filled with stupid robots and a crazy plot.
Stupid robots. Now what's the difference?
Well, they're just bumbling kind of robots.
Can you do an impression
even-
of the stupid robots?
No, they're just
Boop, boop.
they try to do the whole little robot moves. They're like, but it's clearly some dude in a suit, and it's
Oh,
just
okay.
it's
This is like
really
another
cheesy.
really cheaper Spaceballs, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but of course it came before Spaceballs, but the effects are kind of cheesy. The story is okay, but I just think it's just a funny cult movie comedy that most of the kids of the 80s have seen, or most of the cool kids have seen that one. So basically it's a post-apocalyptic universe where the water is very limited and the rich have the most ice. So the current money is water. And I mean, you can buy anything with water in this movie.
So rich people have the most ice? That's kind of how
Right,
it is now.
so the pirates- So basically, yeah. So basically, the pirates go and attack the royals, the people who have the richest people in the universe. They steal all their ice, and they're ice pirates. So they're stealing ice.
Oh, okay.
Brr,
Or,
I think it's just great. You
that
got
the
everything
dude-
from like spaceships.
Is there anybody
to,
in this that we
is
recognize?
that the dude that does the voices from Police Academy? That guy?
No,
Does the
it's
sound
not.
effects?
It's not. I think. See, now the name escapes me. The guy who. Oh man.
He's having a
is
nervous
bad.
breakdown over here.
I had a nervous breakdown. Like I totally forgot. I forgot one of the guys that was in it. Who was in? He was Hellboy. Come on, help me out.
I never saw Hellboy.
Ron Perlman?
Ron Perlman is in this movie. Yes.
Oh, that's the dude that's in Sons of Anarchy now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually read that the movie almost ruined his career, as it did the rest of the people in the movie.
Oh, I can imagine.
So he's the one guy that made it out.
Yeah, I mean he lost a hand in it. He's a cool looking character. But definitely it's nice seeing him in there, and him succeeding after that was really cool.
So watching it just for the pure nostalgia, I guess.
Yeah.
Is just for the hilarity.
If you're in the mood for a cheesy '80s science fiction movie, start with
Watch pretty much
Dice
any
Pirates.
science fiction movie from the 80s. Well, no, I take that back. Back to the Future was sci-fi, and you gotta love
True.
Back to the
And
Future.
that was completely serious.
Yes.
That was true, by the way.
You're my
it really
density.
happened?
Very true. But you might think that Ice Pirates is the cheesiest movie in the '80s. There's a movie called a coworker actually brought this up after I talked to him about Ice Pirates. It's called Theodore Rex.
Oh, yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, that was real bad. Yeah. But we're not talking about that.
No.
No, well, it's basically Whoopi Goldberg is a policeman who's paired up with a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh my God.
So awful.
If that was
Glad I
on
missed out
Netflix,
on that one.
if that was on Netflix, that would have been my pick. But since it's not, I went with the way.
You went with The Way, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of a polar opposite than maybe you picked.
Yeah.
It's a very serious movie, but
Sheen.
very good. Yeah. So it was directed by Emilio Estevez.
So he's directing his dad then.
Yeah, and actually he's in it as well. So it's a story of father and son. It's actually a story about the father's journey, but it starts out with the father and son. They're very different. He's kind of a wealthy businessman and very detached from his son, who he thinks is kind of flaky. He just kind of goes off on these adventures and hikes and doesn't ever have any money, kind of a thing. And the last time that he talks to him, he's going on the Way, which is this trail through Spain and some parts of Europe. And it's like this fabled path that a lot of people hike, and it's supposed to be a real spiritual journey. His son ends up dying on the way, and so he goes and picks up his son's ashes, and he's just like, "Hey, I'm gonna finish it." So he goes on the journey with his son's ashes, because he wants to take him to the finish line. It's just about his journey and like his relationship with his son evolving throughout it, and there's a couple other characters that come in that he meets along the trail and how they develop and become friends, and it's just a really good movie. I kind of found it just searching through one day and showed it to a couple people, and it's very good.
Is it inspirational or sad? Is it which does
It's
it go?
inspirational, I think. I mean, the quote right there is a soulful and cinema. I can't read, so that's why I watch movies.
Cinematic journey.
Yeah, cinematic. Thank you, Raphael.
Yeah, it's great.
With
Well,
that,
I'm surprised it came from you, man. Makes my heart just beat.
Well, I can't
We're
always pick.
switching over to something like this.
Yeah, I can't always pick
great.
just zany sci-fi or Captain America movies.
Sometimes in the mood for what, some
Yeah,
crazy movie.
but this one's definitely like a small kind of indie movie that you probably haven't seen that is really good. And I mean, Martin Sheen's great, so you can't go wrong with him.
Well, I think this is one that I think almost everybody has at least seen one episode of at some time. Oh, come on, Nick! Not even one.
Not an entire
Not even
episode.
one episode of the
I
X-Files.
may have seen maybe 2 episodes.
No way, really?
Yeah.
It's one of the
Uh,
biggest shows of the '90s.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. But it was never. I never got into it. It was just kind of like a. It was kind of like a Monster of the Week thing, right?
No, well, it was mixed. It was
Okay.
mixed. Yeah, they
But it
developed
was-
a really big
Like
mythology.
I never got into like the mystery. It was kind of like detectives going after like supernatural stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it sort of. It's not. They were FBI agents, and it was Mulder and Scully, David Duchovny, Gillian Anderson, and when the show first started, and I will say, I didn't start from the very beginning when it was airing. I got into it around the time that the movie was about to come out in theaters, which was like '98. So I got into it in like 5th or 6th year when it was on air, and I kind of didn't understand the backstory to a lot of stuff. So I was kind of like, because there are standalone episodes where you can just watch it and be satisfied, but then there are a lot of story arc episodes that have to do with the overall arc of the show, and with that I was kind of confused. So it was actually at the same time, like it was around 2000 that The X-Files was actually one of the very first TV shows to be released on DVD in a season set. So they released season 1 in 2000, and I picked that up for a hefty. It was like $200 back then for that. Yeah, for a season set of a DVD. But I kind of watched it from the beginning, and once I started doing that, I totally fell in love with it. Like it just changed my whole outlook on the show. So maybe that's why some people have a hard time getting into it. But it's 2 FBI agents. One of them, Gillian Anderson, is not a believer in any kind of extraordinary phenomena. She's very scientific, down to earth, like everything has to be explained through science kind of a thing. And she won't believe in anything else but that. Mulder is the crazy one who believes in ghosts and UFOs and aliens, and his sister was supposedly abducted by aliens when he was little, and he witnessed it, so it changed his whole outlook on life. So he spent all these years trying to dig these uninvestigated, shelved files that the FBI is just kind of thrown in the corner because they were about UFOs or some weird stuff, and they're called the X-Files. So they open up this division, and Scully is paired with him to kind of counteract his craziness so that they can actually solve a case together.
That's cool. I mean, that's definitely what I've heard about it, is that their relationship is really good and they're playing off each other.
Well, and the chemistry between the 2 actors, I mean, it was just phenomenal in the show itself. And the first season, I can tell, the first season of the show alone was groundbreaking. Just in every single episode had such a good storyline to it that it didn't matter if the thing had an arc or not. You just loved the single episodes as a movie. Each one could be like a mini movie.
They're 30-minute long episodes?
Hour long. It was hour-long episodes. But they actually, in the second season, Gillian Anderson, the actress, got pregnant, and they had to get her off the show for a little while, and that sort of invented the mythology because she was sort of supposedly abducted by aliens. And then you didn't really know if it was aliens or the government or whatever, but it took them years, and every season, almost like Lost, they would kind of peel back another layer and show you a deeper side of the mythology of the show until you got to the last couple seasons when the mythology just kind of went everywhere. And,
Yeah, that kind of happens.
But definitely, I mean, it's an awesome show, and I would say, I could give you one single episode to go online and watch and say, watch this one, and you would just love just from that perspective, like it was a sci-fi movie. You know, it's not really. You don't have to follow it completely. You will get payment for watching the mythology episodes if you do, but if not,
Really?
Huh?
Payment?
no. Well, I mean, payment from you'll get something out of it from watching
I
the
see.
mythological episodes, but you don't have to. You don't have to invest in everything. You can just watch a couple episodes. And
How
enjoy it.
many seasons are there on Netflix?
All 9 are on Netflix.
Oh, wow.
It ran a long time.
Can binge watch the crap out of that.
Yes, yes. And a lot of people think that when David Duchovny left the show, that it wasn't as good anymore, and I think it actually went the opposite direction. Because at that point, I think they were getting kind of hindered on what they were going to write, you know. So
Oh, yeah.
when he left, it gave them this great opportunity to make this arc with his character, but also bring in a new character. And it was great to kind of see them go back through this first season thing where Scully's paired off with somebody new, and this time she's the believer. So it's kind of it goes full circle as you get to it. But definitely a great show. If you're bored one night, whatever. If you're not going to watch *Halt and Catch Fire*, check out The X-Files, all 9 seasons on Netflix. You will absolutely love the show, even just one episode. I promise you that. And don't leave us yet, because we got one more segment coming up. Future Focus next.
Space herpes!